Is $1,000 a month too much for a car loan, for a car payment? Well, whether you think it's too much or not, that may be the new normal for a car loan. And we'll talk about how the math works to get there, and there may not be any option. If you're looking at, well, it's too much, I'm going to wait for it to be different, you may be in for a rude awakening where it might be higher later. According to CNBC, more car buyers pay at least $1,000 a month for their loans because of higher prices and rate hikes. So you might think, well, how do you get to $1,000 a month? That makes no sense. That's not like a payment that should be normal. Well, take a look at this. The average price paid for a new car is $45,971, roughly $46,000. And if you look at the cars in the market nowadays, you can find a pretty decent car for in the low to mid 40s. There's many cars that are well over 50,000. Many normal average cars are well over 50,000. But to get a nice normal regular car that's above average, you're going to spend in the $40,000 to $50,000 range. Well, what does that work out to for a payment? Well, let's look at Bank of America's auto loan calculator. $46,000 loan amount for 60 months. That's 5 years. Now, a lot of people go longer than that. You go 72 months, which is 6 years, which seems a little bit extensive, but 5 years at 6%. And if you shop around, you can probably get a little less than 6%, but at a dealer, that's probably what you're going to end up paying. Well, there's your payment, $890, close to $1,000, right? Now, if you notice, we did not reflect any kind of down payment in this, but we also didn't add in sales tax, license fees, doc fees, any dealer add-ons, where that might eat up your down payment, right? Sales tax in most states is between 6 and 7 and 8%. And so if you put a 10% down payment, that's going to be mostly going to tax, plus some other dollar amount for documentation fees, dealer add-ons, inventory fees. So if the down payment is 10%, that would be a lot of money. That would be $4,600. A lot of that's going to go for taxes and other fees. Most people don't put down that much money. Most people put down maybe $1,000 or $500 or a couple thousand. So your down payment might not even cover your taxes. And if it didn't, let's say you put on another couple thousand, make this $48,000, right? Well, there you are. Now you're over $900, right? So that's how the payment on a vehicle gets to $1,000. Now, what's going to happen in the future? You might think, well, I'm going to wait for prices to go down. Not on new cars. New car prices are going nowhere but up. Every manufacturer has started to announce their 2023 model year pricing. And on all vehicles, it's higher. Some vehicles is significantly higher. Jeep Gladiator is $5,000 more than it was the year before, and Wrangler. Most of the mid-size high-end trucks are several $1,000s more than they were in 2022. Electric vehicles are certainly more money than they were in prior years. And the reason why is because the manufacturers are dealing with inflation just like consumers are. Parts and service and labor that goes into maintaining or manufacturing a vehicle all have the same components in life that you do. They have fuel. They have materials. They have subcomponents when you buy brake systems from a vendor. They all have higher prices. At the same time, the manufacturers are selling fewer vehicles, meaning that their fixed cost for their plants, their factories, their overhead, their executives, their taxes, now instead of dividing it up over 1 million cars that they used to sell 5 years ago, they have to divide it up over 500,000 cars, because manufacturers are selling lower volumes of vehicles, so they have to make it up in terms of a little bit more price on the vehicle. So you're not going to see new car prices go down. There's an argument to be made that, well, maybe used car values will crash. The rise in used car prices might stop, but if there's not as many new cars to buy, or if they're $50,000, $60,000 and your payment's $1,000, you might have to resort to buying a used car. So used cars might not go down that much. What about interest rates? Interest rates aren't going down. 5 or 6 or 7% interest on cars is normal. That's what car rates were for decades in the 70s, 80s, 90s. The interest rates that we saw in the 2000s and early 2000 teens was an anomaly. It was a low rate that was put out there because of the housing crash in 2008. The Fed put a lot of money into the system, offered low rates. That's over. Those rates are going up, and the Fed even announced higher rates going into the fourth quarter of 2022, and even next year there'll probably be a couple rate increases. So if you're looking at a new car, now might be the time. Get a model year 2022 before the price goes up. Get into an interest rate 5-6% before the rates go up. You might be able to get a rate that's even lower if you really shop around, maybe a credit union, get in the high fours. But the days of 0%, 2%, 3% interest rates are over. The days of a nice $20,000 or $30,000 car is over. You can maybe find something, but it's going to be more of a base model. Your main car is probably going to be $40,000 or $50,000. Your second car might be a little bit less. Electric vehicles certainly are going to be more. And within 4 or 5 years, we're going to have to buy electric vehicles because that's all will be on the market. So let us know what you think about $1,000 car payments as being the norm. And if it seems high now, not buying because you want to wait for it to come down may be a pipe dream. Not buying because you can't afford $1,000 may be what you have to do. But it also could be the new reality of buying a new vehicle. $1,000 a month could be the normal payment that people expect when they're purchasing a reasonably nice new vehicle.